Hey folks, thought I'd do a review of two of the Evernew pots I bought recently. We've got first the Evernew 1300 milliliter wide pot. As you can see, it's pretty wide. And we've got the Solo set 750. This one is the stacking cup and 750 milliliter pot. I bought these over comparable Tokes or Snow Peak sets because I heard their lids were a little better, that they would snap on and not come off, but as you can see, they don't really snap on, and if you were to turn the pot upside down, they'll fall out. It's worse even with the 1300 because, as you can see, it doesn't even quite sit still on the pot as is. But other than that, the pots are great, extremely light to the point where when I got the package, I wasn't sure there's anything in it. And I haven't used the 750 in the field, and I will actually be returning it for reasons I'll talk about in a minute. But the 1300 performed very well. I'll put a picture up of me melting snow in it. It performed great, melted water very fast, sat extremely stable on top of the Windmaster. And speaking of the Windmaster, that's the next thing I'll talk about. I picked these pots because I was hoping they would fit a 110 gram canister and my Windmaster at the same time. I put my Windmaster in the bag here to prevent scratching to the pots, but as you'll see, it doesn't fit in the 750 even without the bag very nicely. But it fits great in the 1300, which is why I'll definitely be keeping this pot. As you can see, fits in there perfectly, very snug. Rattles a little bit, but when you are sort of walking around hiking and you fill up this space with like a Cliff Bar or two, it doesn't make any noise at all. So really enjoyed that. Both of these pots also come with a bag. So here's the 750 bag and the 1300 bag that will sort of clamp over the pots to prevent the lids from rattling. I really wish the lid sat a little better, but this is a good enough solution. But yeah, the 1300, great pot, we'll be keeping it. It also has one more feature that I really liked when I was shopping, which is this sort of divot here. I saw some poor fool on the Amazon review page call it a dent, but it's actually supposed to help direct the flow of water so you can pour a little bit easier. In practice, I found it didn't work very well. It was very easy to get water coming off of like right next to the pour spout if you tipped it too far. So I don't think it's worth buying the pot for this sort of little spigot here, but it's there if you're looking for something like that. And now on to the Solo set. You can see here that the gas canister fits in there perfectly, but to get the Soto stove in there, it doesn't quite fit this way, straight horizontally, and it doesn't really fit in there diagonally. As you can see, it's kind of poking out a little bit. So the only possible recourse you have, give me a second here, is to try to jam it in perfectly horizontally, because it'll exactly fit this way. As you can see, there's pretty much no space, and you can shove it down there, but it'll make these horrible scratching sounds, and that's not what I want to be doing every time I'm taking my pot in and out. So you can see it doesn't really fit like that. It's poking out. Doesn't really fit like that. Still sticking out. And even with some alternate configurations, like let's say we put that guy in first, stove on top, well, it's also just sticking out a bit. Or if we flip the canister upside down, it just doesn't even work at all. So there's no way you can reasonably get this Windmaster and a 110 gram canister in there without making horrific scratching noises and potentially damaging the pot, which is why I will probably be returning this Solo set. And I will definitely be keeping the 1300. This is my winter pot for now, but I'm still going to be looking for a smaller pot for summer use that can nest both the Windmaster and the 110 gram fuel canister. But yeah, that's been the review. Hopefully you learned something. I'll put the specific model numbers of these two pots in the description. I know Evernew's pots are a little weird in that regard, so I'll put the specific model numbers in the video description. Cheers.